Alrighty, you guys. Oh my goodness. It's so fun to see all of you guys. I truly get so pumped up for Fast Track, and especially when I get the opportunity to just kind of listen and learn and take notes and learn from my peers and my good friends. And I know Laura is just going to absolutely bring it and crush it tonight. Before she takes over the call, I just want to give a few shout outs on some people that are like doing the do and absolutely crushing their 90-day game plan. So first of all, if you guys had an accountability partner or someone that you came back from Nashville with and they were fired up and you guys set out on some big audacious goals together, text them right now. Just be like, hey, remember when you told me you were going to pay off that credit card debt? Or hey, remember you told me you were taking your family to Disney? Like, say, hey, we're only, 2/3 of the way in, and get your butt on the call and get trained and keep the energy up. But I want to give a shout out to Miss Kira, who went consultant, and this girl is just diving in. She's a product of the product. She is in so many ATMs. She's posting on social media. She's up till midnight every night brainstorming, sending me all kinds of stuff, and she's so excited, and I'm so proud of her. I want to give a shout out to Danielle and also Katie, who have just been massively enrolling. And like every time I go in to check Isopulse, it's like Katie's enrolling, Danielle's enrolled somebody, Katie's enrolled some, Danielle's been enrolling someone. Jen and Adam, who I know they do their Tuesday night trainings right now, so they just dialed in and they've got a house full of people, but they are the #1 dreamers with points. They're close to 9,000 points, so they are well on their way to Disney with their family of 4, which is super fun, and really just a recognition to all of you for staying true to your kind of goal, staying true to your why, staying true to your mission. And with no further ado, I get to mute and turn it over to Miss Laura, who most of you know, but for those of you that do not know, she's a 2-star Crystal Executive, 4-star Golden Circle. But more than that, she is just an absolute rising star in the company. She just hosted 4 of the Capture the Essence tours in St. Louis, and in the process, 6, 7, a lot. I guess there were like 2 a day. There were 4 days that she was on the road with corporate, and in the process was still doing ATM, still enrolling people, still doing follow-ups, still on social media with a family and kids, and how she juggles it all. And it's really just because she loves Isogenics and wants the world to soak it up. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for making time for this call, and we're excited to learn from you.
Well, I am super excited about this topic. So tonight we're going to be talking about time management. And I will tell you that next to the question of what do I say, how do I manage my time is probably the second most asked question that I get. So is there anybody here who struggles with time management with their Isogenics business in their life? Just show of hands. Amen, right? Yeah. So this is a really valuable topic for all of us. And so I'm working on my lighting, guys. So if you see some things moving around, I have no idea why I'm always so dark. If you saw the number of lights in this room, you'd crack up. So we're just trying to get it a little brighter so I don't look like this dark shadow. But so if you see movement around me, you'll know what's going on. In any case, we always incorporate one of Isogenics' core values. It just got darker. One of Isogenics' core values. And so this week we're incorporating our core value of being goal-driven. And I love how being goal-driven really ties into time management. And I'm going to show you how closely those things tie together here as we go. But the core value of being goal-driven is to dream big, to achieve, to celebrate, and then to repeat. So if you think about that core value, that's really what we do as we're building our Isogenics business. We set our goals, right? We've got our 90-day action plan. So we set our goals. What are we going to do over the next 90 days? We work really hard to achieve them, to map those out. We celebrate our success, and then we repeat that 90-day action plan again. So the whole concept of being goal-driven, we're really doing that through our 90-day action plans. How many people have a 90-day action plan in place right now? Awesome. So some of you do. Okay. The whole purpose of that is to set our goals and then to get into action over 90 days to achieve them, right? Isogenics is amazing in providing us the tools, the training, and the resources that we need to crush our goals. And part of this, goal setting really ties into time management. If you don't have any goals, what time are you managing, right? Like, what are you trying to manage? So we really have to start with, What is the goal? What is it you want to accomplish? You know, for some of you, you may want to just get your products paid for. Maybe you want to earn an extra $500 a month. Maybe some of you are looking to retire a spouse. Maybe some of you are looking to build a phenomenal income that creates financial freedom for you and your family. You have to know what the goal is before you can figure out how you're going to manage your time. So that's why I love this core value tied into our topic tonight. With that being said, you know, you really need to know where you want to go so you can map out the steps to get there and then determine the time it's going to take you to accomplish those steps. So when people say, I'm struggling to manage my time, I think if you start drilling down to what your goals are, that's the very first step in being more effective in managing your time, right? Because if you know what your goals are, then you can map out the steps to accomplish that. So I would love to just be really, really real with all of you right now. Would that be okay? Okay. So a lot of us say that we want this, that we want the financial freedom that Isagenix is going to provide us, but we aren't always willing to do the work. Would y'all agree? I mean, it sounds really awesome to be financially free, to leave corporate America, to do all of these things, but there's work involved, right? There's work. So I would ask you, as I'm talking right now, to take some time and really think about what it is you want this opportunity to provide you in terms of what you're also willing to do. Don't let it be a belief issue like, well, I'll just get my products paid for because I don't believe I can do more. You all can do it, right? You all can do this. You all can become financially free. You all can be millionaire 300, whatever it is you want. That's a belief issue. But what is it that you really want? Some of you love the job that you're in right now. You don't necessarily want to leave it, but you want to have that extra income to take your family on vacation, to pay off a college debt. So be really clear about what your goal is with Isagenix and this business. There's nothing wrong with it. We don't all have to want to be the next Isagenix millionaire, but be really clear. And then when you know what that goal is, get with your leader to make sure you know how to accomplish it. So if you want to earn $1,000 a month, how do you get $1,000 a month, right? Because if you don't have these two things, the time management piece doesn't make any sense. If you want to earn $1,000 a month, what do you actually have to accomplish? How many people do you have to enroll? How much BV do you actually have to have accumulated to residually earn $1,000 a month? Once you know that, then you can say, okay, this is what I have to put into my business to get it there. And then when you know that, get a calendar. How many people have a calendar? Either on your phone or a paper one. Okay, because this is the next really important step. If you're frustrated that you're not building your business or you don't know how to manage your time effectively and you don't have a calendar, it's kind of like you just get up in the morning and hope you remember what you're supposed to do that day, right? So the calendar becomes really important. And I don't have a magic answer. I know a lot of people who manage their schedule and their life with the calendar on their phone. How many people use the calendar on their phone? Awesome. How many people use a paper calendar besides me? Okay. I'm just a very visual person, so I like to have my life all mapped out on my little paper calendar. So, and it goes in 15-minute increments and I can see it for the week. But if the phone works for you, use your phone, right? And so as we talk about time management, I feel like I got real excited there and I might be getting straying from where I wanted to go with this. But once you know what your goals are and you know what it's going to take to get there, get your calendar and start planning out your time. You have to decide if this is a part-time business for you or a full-time business. How many people are full-time here doing this full-time? So we got a couple of hands up. So what your schedule is going to look like is going to be a little bit different than somebody who's doing this part-time. So I'm guessing everybody else is part-time or trying to figure out what you want to be, right? Okay. Part-timers, it becomes even more critical that you are a master of your calendar because you're building this business in the pockets of your time, right? So I can tell you my experience in the beginning. I had a full-time career. I had a part-time job, 2 kids, a husband, a house, and I wanted to build an Isagenix business, right? It sounds insane to me to say it at this time, but I had to master my time. That was the only way it was going to work. So when you're in your calendar, this is what I recommend that you guys do. Take your calendar out, and for the week, for the month, whatever it is, the very first thing you should plot in, if you have a job, right, your job, right, because you have to show up there right now. So if you have a full-time career somewhere else outside of Isagenix, that goes on your calendar. Your family commitments, that goes on your calendar. So if you have things that you know you're doing with your kids, they have a soccer game, you have a meeting at school, you have parent-teacher conferences, whatever that is, that's the next thing you put on your calendar, okay? And then I would say if you work out, you exercise, or there's things you do personally, meditation, yoga, gym, put that in your calendar, okay? Because that's time you're committed to you and your health. Then look at your calendar. There's 24 hours in a day. If you work 8 hours, 9 hours a day, and then you have kids' activities, etc., what's left? That's the time. That's where you're going to find the pockets to build your Isagenix business. And so for some of you, that might look like 2 hours at night after you put the kids to bed. It might look like an hour in the morning before you head off to your job. It might just be 4 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday. But here's what I will challenge you when I said I wanted to get honest with you guys. When you say you're busy, how much time are you spending scrolling Facebook, watching television, right? That could be time. I would challenge you, if you're serious about doing something with Isagenix, that could be time that you're allotting to building your Isagenix business. So for me, I'll just share my experience. I said to my husband, I'm not watching TV anymore. In 2014, I told him I'm not watching TV anymore. I mean, that used to be the thing. We'd get the kids off to bed. We both sit down on the sofa, and I would decompress with a glass of wine and some mindless television show like Lost or American Idol. I mean, all kinds of things I would watch at night, right? So I said to him, honey, I'm committed to building this business. When the kids are off to bed, I'm going to be working. I have not, honestly, I swear to you, I have not watched television since 2014. And I do this full time now. Okay. I'm not saying you have to give up TV. I'm just giving you an example. Like when you feel busy, where maybe you could pull some time. Maybe you watch 3 TV shows a week. Maybe you pick one. And those other 2 nights you're working on Isagenix. Maybe you love to scroll through Facebook or Pinterest. Who's Pinterest junkies on here? I deliberately did not go to Pinterest because, oh my gosh, that would suck every ounce of my time. So if you're a Pinterest junkie, give up Pinterest, right? Use that time you're scrolling Pinterest and build your Isagenix business. But once you have your calendar set, you have pockets. So, and Lauren will attest to this. When she was working full time, right? Instead of going to lunch with everybody, she went and worked. If I didn't have a lunch meeting, I would go to the parking garage where my car was parked for that hour. I would drink my shake in my car and I would make phone calls on my lunch at work. So, you know, I had a pretty nasty commute both ways. In the morning on my ride in, it was too early to call people. I'd listen to podcasts. That would be my training. I'm going to talk to you about how to break down your time. But I would listen to podcasts and training calls on my way in the morning. And then on my way home, I would use that time to call and connect with everybody that I had enrolled who was cleansing, like just to kind of do my cleanse coaching, touching base, making sure people were doing well. And then I do my prospecting at night after the kids went to bed or on my lunch hour if I didn't have a lunch appointment. So if your intention is to build this business and you're looking for this as an income opportunity, I would strongly challenge you to get a calendar and commit to yourself, take responsibility for your calendar and commit to yourself where you can fit this in. All right, it takes some extra organization. And one of the things that Lauren taught me very early on is getting ready to get ready. So if you don't have a list, but you're going to take your lunch hour to call people, you're going to wind up spending the hour figuring out who you want to call. So you've got to have a list and you've got to keep it with you so that in those pockets of time, you know who you're reaching out to. Okay. So that's that component. Let's talk about what we do with our time, right? So whether we're doing this part-time and in 5 hours a week, or we're doing this full-time, one of the things that I find really helpful is to know, well, what do I do with the time I have, right? What should I be doing with the time I have? So here's what I would suggest, and this is how it was taught to me. there's 4 basic activities that you're going to be doing, right? So you're going to be prospecting, that's reaching out to people, connecting with people, and then presenting, sharing the opportunity with people, and then enrolling people, right? Those are the things that make us money, the prospecting, the presenting, and the enrolling. And then the last component is training. So you want to make sure that 80% of the time that you're blocking off, whether it's 5 hours a week or 40 hours a week, that 80% of that time is prospecting, presenting, and enrolling. Okay, does that make sense? And then that last 20% of your time, you're going to be training yourself, training your team, right? So if you have enrolled one person, guys, you have a team. Congratulations, you're a leader. Okay, it only takes one enrollment to turn you into a leader in Isogenics. So that other 20% of the time you're going to be training, you're going to be training your team. That means listening to podcasts, getting on these training calls, getting on the Isogenics training calls, 2-star, getting to manager, crystal manager, all the training calls that they do. So as you're looking at your time and how do I block my time and what should I be doing with my time, think about prospecting, presenting, and enrolling as your income producing activities and really where you want to be spending the bulk of your time. We have lots of tools. I will tell you that this IsoLife Success Plan, how many people are using this? This is like, did you ever work anywhere where they gave you a training manual? They're like, hey, here's your training manual. We're going to get started. So a little secret about me, I used to work for Taco Bell. It's a true story. Before I knew anything about nutrition and health, I was actually in human resources with Taco Bell. And one of the things that we did was we gave all our new employees a training manual, right? Well, we have a training manual. It's right here. This will help you with allotting your time. There's calendar in the back of this. It talks about income producing activities and it actually maps out for you what you're doing each week and each day. So if your own calendar doesn't really work well for you and you want to do it in here, you can. This is an amazing, amazing resource for you. So use your training manual if you need it. And then I would say some other tools that are really valuable for me to ensure that I'm prepared for my day and what I'm about to accomplish is the income producing activity log. That is a huge help for me in my time management because it keeps me focused on the core things that I want to be working on. So y'all may have some other way of doing this, but the income producing activity really talks about the 3 by 3 by 3, right? So it might be, for some of us, if we're part-time, it might be 3, 3, 3. For some of us full-timers, it might be 5, 3, 3. And for some of us who are running really, really hard during our 90-day action plan, it might be 10, 3, 3. You can adjust those numbers, but we recommend at a minimum 3 by 3 by 3. What does that mean? That means we're reaching out to 3 new people. We're following up with 3 people. And we're giving love. We're just reaching out and touching someone. Maybe it's sending a thank you note or sending a text to someone, right? And then the 1 is that 1 piece of personal development. So when we talk about 80% of our time being prospecting, presenting, and enrolling, your 3 by 3 by 3 is going to help you get those things accomplished. And then the 20% training, that's that 1, right? That's that podcast or that training that you're going to do. How many people are using the IPA sheet, the 3 by 3? Couple hands. All right. So what we'll make sure, for those of you who didn't put your hand up or those of you who have your screen closed so I can't see your hands, we'll make sure that sheet goes in. And I would say, Lauren, as part of our homework, I would love for people to share their calendar. I'm going to talk a little bit more about time blocking on the calendar, but to share some images with everyone of what your calendar looks like and how you're blocking your time. We'll post in the 3 by 3 by 3 sheet, and I would encourage you as homework to work using those sheets and share the sheet in our Fast Track to Executive as part of your homework. And let's talk about time blocking. Everything Isogenics related in my calendar, I color code it to green. So on Sunday, what I do is I have my calendar. I already have appointments scheduled in that I have set up. So I have appointments scheduled out right now all the way to the end of October of prospects that I'm meeting with, people that I'm meeting with belly to belly. They're already in there. Plus, all my family activities and my family life are all in my calendar already to the end of the year. So, who has a school play? Who do I have a parent-teacher conference with? Where do I have a college visit coming up? That's all in my calendar to the end of the year. My prospecting appointments are in there. Personal things like doctor's appointments. My workout schedule to the end of the year, it's in there, right? So I know I'm going to go to cycle bar at 9:30. I know I'm going to go to boot camp at 7 a.m. It's in my calendar to the end of the year. But if you're doing it in weekly increments, that's okay too. Block off. I take a highlighter and I block off. I'm going to work 1 hour in the morning from 10 to 11, right? I'm going to prospect. I'm going to whatever it is. I block it out and I write in what I'm going to do. And then my IPA just ties in to help me with that. Does that make sense? Who else is doing that? Like time blocking and color coding their calendar right now. I see Brian's got his thumb up. I love it. I love it. Holly's doing it. Awesome. When you're busy, like all of you are, I know all the faces on here, you guys are busy. When you become a master of your calendar and a master of your activities, you're going to see your business soar. If you're not mastering your calendar, you don't know, you're getting up in the morning and you're going to wing it, your business isn't going anywhere. When people have a solid calendar and they have income producing activity logs completed, they're very business focused. They're focused on the activities that are going to drive their business and they're enrolling. So that's what I wanted to add on to that. And then just kind of some tips around time management as well. I love to talk. So one of the things that I have to do is I have to time myself. So if I say I'm going to be on a call and it's going to be 15 minutes, I time it. I actually set a timer and I pace myself because I love people. I know not everybody feels that way, but I really do love people and I want to know everything about them. And I can talk and talk and talk and talk. And then you've blown your calendar, right? I mean, I could be on the phone with somebody for an hour and it was supposed to be a 15-minute call. So tip number one, time your calls and time your activities. I started timing myself on Facebook in the morning. I mean, we have pages. I need to comment. I need to get in cleansers. I need to get a post up, all these things. So I actually set a timer in the morning when I'm having my coffee and I give myself exactly 10 minutes. And then I come back in the afternoon and I try really hard not to be a scroller because it's so easy to get sucked in, right? Anybody else ever just kind of get sucked in scrolling? Yeah, it's really easy to do. So this is a great tip. Start setting timers on your phone for yourself so that you don't find yourself wasting time on things that are not income producing. Okay. And then the other thing, especially for part-timers, I love this tip and it came from Kathy Coover, but it's actually in your texts, your emails, your voicemails. Have a message that tells people your availability when you work and when you return calls, especially if you're a part-timer, because you're working another job. So if you're prospecting and reaching out and someone's following back up with you, have a message that says, I'm so excited to connect with you. I'll be returning calls this day and time, these days and times, between 7 and 9 each evening, whatever your hours are. That way you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I have messages, I got to call people back. It's very stressful when you're doing this part-time if you don't have control over that. So being able to have a system to let people know when you're going to be following back up with them is huge, huge. So Lauren, that was really the topics that I wanted to cover. I would be happy to answer some questions, or if you have a couple of things that you would love for me to touch on that maybe I didn't hit, I would love to do that. But from a homework perspective, I'd love to see calendars. I'd love to see IPAs this week, the 3x3x3 form. I don't know if you had any other thoughts on that, but that's really where I was going, just to see if we could coach, help, and support on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll put a list up there, and I think you and I can both show our calendars as well, and I'll get the IPA sheet loaded, no problem. or a picture of that. And I'm so glad you brought that up. So there's people on here I texted like literally yesterday, and I was like, hey, it's Monday. I was like, I want to see your sheet this week, you know? The only thing I would add on, and, you know, Jen and Adam or Aaron, if you guys want to chime in on this, is just, you know, experts in managing your time and everybody doing this differently. I love what Laura said about like the very first thing you have to do is like write in your non-negotiables. You know, like I've been to so many events and people are like, I'm going 2-star executive by blah, blah, blah. And we sit down and they literally have like an hour a night. And it's like, you have to be realistic. I mean, the same thing that the person that wants to train for a marathon and they've got 10 or 15 hours a week to train for it is totally different than someone who has literally 4 or 5 hours of free time. Like you just have to be realistic with it. And so when you do block out kids activities, family activities, your full-time job, your workouts, whatever that is, then the thing that Laura's talking about is getting really specific of what you're doing, because otherwise you're going to end up getting ready to get ready and you're going to do nothing. And then you're going to be frustrated because the little time you did have wasn't even effective, that you're like, I should have just watched TV, or I should have gone out with this friend, because the time that you walk away, if you're not doing something that's going to get you paid, you're going to end up resenting it. Everybody's a little bit different with that. And the IPA sheet, I mean, because it tracks it, it keeps you on track that you go, okay, I contacted 3 people. I followed up with 3 people. I listened to 1 podcast. I mean, the ratio right there is 6 to 1. Where some people are like, oh, I commented on this post, or I listened to this, or I did that. And I'm like, did you call anybody? You know, have you talked to anybody about Isagenix? Because it's a numbers game. If you're going for 2 enrollments a week, if you want double pips, that's 20 conversations, you guys. And that's just the numbers. And people will say, oh, I'm going to call everybody on Sunday. That's like trying to do all of your workouts in one day. And that's how we break it out, that you're having 3 to 4 conversations a day. So some of you might say, okay, I've got 30 minutes in the morning, like Laura said, or I've got 30 minutes at night. Use the time that you're already doing another activity like cooking or driving or getting ready to listen to the training, but have an active list. You know, have people that you want to be following up with. Know who is close to consultant, or who's close to manager, or who's close to 5-cycle bonus, that you're working with those people, that you can push them, that all of your time is maximized. But the people that don't necessarily use the 3x3, I will tell you that the other way that I've heard this taught that's very effective, and I think this just has to do with the people are more visual, more linear, however they organize just in general, is checklists and a to-do list. And then you prioritize it of what's most important down to what's least important. So for some of you, like taking Susie Q to cheerleading practice, or making sure Johnny Smith goes to baseball practice or whatever, like that's got to happen. You've got to make sure you go to your job. But then things like, you know, making sure you connect with Kathy and Jackie and Christina, like you met them out this weekend, or they commented on a power post, that you are doing those connections. Like that's priority. You know, then maybe Marla and Rick and Brad all got started last week, and you want to do your unboxing call, or you want to go through the new associate checklist and everything that Aaron talked to us about last week. Like that's a priority. And number 3, you know, might be like, oh my gosh, like Chris is starting to share and Babs is starting to share. I should really start talking about NYKO and getting them fired up about the, you know, going consultant or things like that. Where like 4 and 5 might be like making your dream board, making your vision list, going after inactive customers. I mean, it's not that that stuff isn't important, but it's kind of like, if I've done this, if there's time left over, I'll get to that. Where sometimes we put off the most difficult tasks and we do all the busy stuff and we do all the things that keep us comfortable, but they don't really get us to where we want to go and they don't keep us growing. That I just want to encourage you guys to do the hardest things first. Like make your hardest call first. The person that returned or is about to return and thinks that you caused them to get sick or whatever it is, do the hardest thing first. And sometimes I like to do that in the morning. I'm a morning person. I have the best energy. I'm fresh. I'm fired up. My endorphins are up from the workout. Like all of my chicken list messages, or all the people that I'm kind of like want to be avoiding, that happens first thing in the morning, you know, where it's like bubblegum for the brain. At night, if I had a glass of wine, I kind of just prospecting, liking on people's stuff, doing the soft connections. That's for me. Some people might be the opposite, you know, if Jenny is exhausted in the morning and she needs like 6 cups of coffee still to be a human. I'm obviously not saying that, but at night she's on, she's fired up, kids are asleep, she's got no distractions. Like that's when she's going to go after her chicken list. So there's really not a right or a wrong way to do this. But what Laura broke down, you guys, those 4 steps of prospecting, presenting, enrolling, and then training is huge. and look at your calendar. I mean, I will tell you that when you get 2-star and above, it's very easy to fall into management mode. You have a big enough team. You could have a full-time job just training people, and your business goes the wrong way. And the things that got someone to 1-star or got someone to 2-star, that's how you still get 4-star, 5-star, 6-star, and you keep going. That it's always new blood. It's always adding new people to the tree. And the only way to do that is to prospect, to share the story, to present it, and then inevitably enroll them. Isagenix does so much of the training for us. Like, we are so grateful. That's not our job. I mean, it's literally plug people into the tools, and those that want to do it, they're going to do it. They're going to find the information. I can tell you right now, just some of the strongest leaders on the team, my team, Laura, Rachel, Jen, Kisa, they were the most self-motivated people. Like, I remember Kisa coming to me being like, I looked at this, I did that, but I can't find it. And I was like, where were you? Like, she taught me of things that I didn't even know were there, because she was so driven and she was so hungry for it. People are going to find it. I mean, those are what's going to separate a leader and an influencer anyways. So if you're exhausting all your time training people and dragging people, stop. Just go find new people. Like Jess says, go find the blue M&M that's going to go do that on their own anyways. So Laura, this is awesome. And I love too what you said about goal setting. And I just want to touch on one thing about that, because I know a lot of times people freak out about goal setting, because you hear the word goal and immediately it's like, what if I fail? Or you hear the word goal and it's like, what if I don't hit it? But the goal is your roadmap. This is your focus. And even if you don't hit it, you're closer to it than if you don't have any direction, right? And that goal is your guide map, and it keeps you focused. It keeps you striving for something. It keeps you growing. It keeps you getting better. And I encourage you to go for stretch goals. Like, you guys, I have never hit 6-star, but everywhere in my house, like all my sticky notes, the back of my phone, my IPH, it says 7, right? Like, I'm skipping 6. We're just going for 7, because that's the way that my brain works. Of course, that's not going to happen, but that's the vision, right? You got to think bigger. You got to act bigger, because we always fall short of it. But when it thinks about those goals, that too is going to help you with your time. So if Aaron said, I'm going to run a marathon, I'm going to get into endurance training and I'm going to run a marathon, and he was lifting every day, all of us would go, that's not really going to help you get closer to your run. Like, you might stay shredded, but you're not going to run 26 miles if you just bench press every day and do a bunch of lat pull downs. That's not going to work. And so sometimes we're not in alignment with our goals and the activities either. And so for some of you who have maybe enrolled a lot of people and you haven't necessarily developed your people, and so you're setting these goals like, oh, I'm going to go 2-star, I'm going to go 3-star. But if your goals is still like, I'm going to enroll 10 people this week, you have to switch to say, no, I need to create 2 consultants. I need to create a manager, and you start to go deep. And that's why that leader in action formula is so important, because then instead of just calling people and just following up with people, you look at the checklist that's in the ISA Life Success Manual for the 90-day game plan, which is, how many people are you getting into ISA Body? How many of your team members are you getting into ISA Body? How many tasting parties are you doing for yourself? How many tasting parties are you doing for your team, right? How many people of your team are you getting into NYKO? And you're tracking not just enrollments, but the development of your team. And you can start to schedule your time out differently, because if you're only doing the 3x3, you're going to only be enrolling. But if you're looking at your goals and saying, okay, I'm creating a manager this month and I'm creating a director, in those time blocks, you're going to put in the time to develop people and not just prospect people and enroll people. So Laura, I see you raising your hand that you got excited and you want to say something again.
Well, no, I love everything that you're sharing. And I think you're maybe clarifying a lot of what I was saying in the beginning about the goal component of it, and really understanding what your goal is. What are the activities to get you to the goal? Because sometimes we say we want to make $1,000 a month, or we want to hit 2-star, but we don't actually know what that takes. So if you're one of those people and your goal is something, but you don't really know, what kind of volume has to come into your business to get you to 2-star? Like, where are you now? If you don't know that, get with one of us, get with one of your leaders, and let's actually map that out for you. Because saying 2-star, but knowing the amount of volume that it's going to take to get there, then all right, I'm going to have to fire up some people, create some consultants, get some volume, right? We can help you map that out. But the other really important point I wanted to make, and I forgot to mention it before, when you're setting goals like this, it is so important, especially if you're doing this part-time, even full-time, but part-time too. One of the things that I did early on and it works over and over again. Share your goals with your family and your kids. Let them know what you're doing, right? So I said to my husband, like, I caught the vision of Isogenics and I shared it. I said, honey, I really want to do this. I'm not watching TV anymore. You know, I got his buy-in and his agreement to what it was I was trying to accomplish. My kids knew what I was trying to accomplish. So they knew, like they know, you know, Sunday nights after dinner, right? It's back office time. They know mom goes to her office and closes the door. They know Tuesday nights I have team training calls at 8:30. So it's just getting the family involved in your goals. They will cheer you on. They will support you. I know Jen and Adam's kids are helping check off the Dash to Disney points as they go. They're so fired up, right? They're just little kids, but they know mom and dad want to go to Disney. So they're going to be so much more supportive of letting mom and dad get on a phone call here and there and checking off those points. So as you set your goals, share it with the people that are most important to you, your friends, your family, your kids, your significant other, and let them become your cheerleaders instead of the person who's going, what are you doing? Why are you still on your phone? Right? Get them involved so they're supporting you right from the beginning. It will make your time management and your stress level so much better, you know? So I just wanted to share that, Lauren. I meant to mention that earlier when I was talking about tips for time management. Just definitely get the people you love involved.
I love that. And then the only other thing that came up for me that I wanted to share, unless Adam and Aaron want to say anything and we can hop off out of here, is Aaron does. So yeah, I'll definitely, we won't close the call yet. In addition to like, you know, what are you doing and like telling those people in it is like, part of this is just treating your business like a business. And I think sometimes this can be so exhausting or so draining or so tiresome because we're always kind of doing it. And so we're never away from it. And what happens is we do everything half-ass. And what I mean by that is you're trying to make dinner, but you're also responding to ATMs, you know, or you're kind of driving to work and you're doing your Marco Polo. So your energy is not there. You're not in the right state. You're not really focused. Or then your family's frustrated because even the time that you are with them, if you do make the time to go to brunch or you do make the time to go to dinner, you're so checked out and you're on your phone all the time. They're like, you're not even here. Is really kind of putting those boundaries up. I mean, I had someone message me yesterday that was like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed because of all the notifications. And I said, turn them off. Like, just turn them off. Like, and then look at them when you're ready. Like, it's not that hard, you know? And I know that happens to a lot of people, but if that's something that stresses you off, turn them off, right? But when I was at Fuel for Life, when I had my practice and I was doing nutrition therapy, I was not bartending. That was something I could not do. I could not do a one-on-one consultation or review blood work and make cosmopolitans at the same time. And likewise, when I was at the bar making lemon drops, I was not going over a stool test with somebody, you know, like there was those boundaries. And that was a skill set I had when I came into Isogenics, that if I'm teaching a spin class, guess what I'm not doing? A three-way call for Aaron. And if we're doing the three-way call, I'm probably not teaching Pilates. And treating your business and putting those boundaries up, that if you're with your family, be with your family. And if you're at your job and not a job that's very flexible, be at your job. But when you're doing Isogenics, give it your all just as much as you're giving everything else your all. You know, if you're on the cardio machine and you want to listen to a podcast instead of music, awesome. But if you're trying to do a workout and you're lifting and you're texting the whole time, you're just wasting time. Because instead of going in and crushing your workout in 40 minutes and getting out, you're there for an hour and a half. The people are not getting your best energy because you're in between stuff. And just be willing to put those boundaries up and delegate in those times that when you actually dive in, you're ready, you're fired up, you're excited, you're in a good state of mind. And at the same point, you can decompress from it. Because if you are always on, this will run your life. And it will run your life because people are expecting you to respond immediately because you've conditioned them that that's okay. Any other business, you guys, any other business, 24 hours to 48 hours is fine. If you call your dentist right now, guess who's not answering and not calling you back until the end of business hours tomorrow? Treat your business the same way. Like, you don't have to do that, you know? And it will keep you from getting burnt out, and it will keep you excited, and it will keep you clear. So I know that, like, I can be so guilty of this. Like, Laurie is too. We'll tell you this transparently. Like, we'll walk out of a meeting and it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like I've got 800 ATMs right now and you're going to the next, and there's like this anxiety that you can't get back to it. And I literally have to give myself the same pep talk I'm giving you guys. I'm like, oh my gosh, no one is dying. Nobody is dying if they don't buy a shake right now. I will respond to that in a few hours when I'm ready, when I can sit down and do it. And they're always fine. We put this stress on ourselves. People are not like super eager in like 2 or 3 hours to get that response, you know? So just give yourself some grace and some boundaries, and it will keep it fun. Because if you're not having fun, no one wants to join you and you don't want to do it. That really designating that time will absolutely keep the energy up. So your turn, Mr. Aaron, and you guys are awesome. Thank you for sticking on here so late, especially the East Coast people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Laura, you crushed it. Thank you so much, because I still need help with that calendar. So here's one of the things I want to share, because I think it's very important that you guys all remember that the business will grow at the extent that you do. So when you're growing this business, it's all about them investing in you. So make sure you allocate time in the morning to plant those seeds. And what I mean by that is that our mind, okay, is going to grow whatever we plan in it first, right? And so if we allow our days to start off by everybody having demands for us, no matter what your calendar says, your mind is going to be focused on all these other seeds that just got thrown into your garden, right? So what I would encourage you to do, if you're not doing it already, make sure that you start your morning getting 100% of yourself first. Because here's the thing, this business, if you don't have a full tank, right, you're going to wish you did when you meet that person that really wants to sit down with you and team up with you. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, and you got 1,000 other things on your mind because you didn't plant that seed to say, you know what? I'm opening up this hole right here because there's going to be a seed today that's going to get planted here. And I want to nourish that seed. I want to fertilize that seed. I want to grow that seed because that seed is going to bear fruit for generations of my family, right? Right? So this business, right, it's not like your traditional business where you swap time for money. And this is one thing that I learned really quickly is like, if you try to find time to do this, you're doing it wrong, because this isn't a time for money thing. Like, find how to integrate this into your life, because those are going to be the moments of excitement. Those are going to be the moments where people say, wow, you know what? I do have time for this, because I do find myself doing other things and promoting other things during my time in life. Not that I set a tie to say, you know what, I drive a Honda and so everybody should buy a Honda, or, you know, I eat Doritos and I think everybody should buy Doritos. Like, you do that and people see that and they go, wow, I'm going to grab me a bag of Ranch Doritos. So this is the thing, guys, is that as you start to build your business, you must grow yourself, okay? And you must understand that you must be the person that you want to partner with. And that person must be crystal clear on what your day is going to end up looking like, feeling like, right? Because here's the thing, guys, is that when you end your day, you must have a clear vision of what you accomplished and what you didn't accomplish. You must have a clear vision on what you're going to work on tomorrow at that 1%. And I like to use this analogy because, listen, if we improved each day by 1%, we will be 365% better at the end of the year. Now, think about that ROI. If you had 300%, 365% investment, right, in interest, think about what that would look like, right? So it's the small things, right? And starting in the morning with 20% of your day, 20 minutes of your day in the beginning allocated to you. Getting crystal clear. That 3x3x3 sheet is so important. And I love the 3x3x3 because that's what we do for others, right? But I also love when it says our intentions. Like, what do we intend on doing today? Like, who are we going to become today? Like, what are we going to allow ourselves to grow into today? Because I'm telling you right now, if you're not a millionaire right now, it's because the person you are right now is not a millionaire. You must become a millionaire before you actually earn that $1 million. You must become a professional network marketer in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, in your spirit, that you have a gift that you can share it at any time, no matter what noise is going on. And when you can become that person, right, then it's going to show up. And you're going to be like, holy smokes, what just happened? Well, what happened is that you became a new person, right? So really allocate that time. And so if you start to do your calendar, make sure that first 20 minutes of the day is not given to anyone else. Get up earlier, set some meditation time, get crystal clear on what it is that you're going to become today. Who am I going to become today that's going to make me different than yesterday? Because yesterday I didn't accomplish everything. So I can't be that same person. I have to change today, make those little tweaks, right? Have that gratitude and seek progress, not perfection, guys. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Go out there and be great.
Awesome. 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 Thank you for saying that. That's the best line. Seek progress, not perfection. So thank you guys so much. I'll get the recording up within 24 hours and the homework. Laura, thank you so much. We'll see you guys in a week. Thank you for being present.
Let's go, guys.
So hard. Bye, guys.